Greetings, I'm Karen G. Long, the 2025-2026 president of Mu Lambda Omega Chapter. I was initiated in 2001 in Mu Beta Omega Chapter in Inglewood, California. It's my distinct pleasure and honor to serve as our 16th president. Since my installation, we have hit the ground running with our service to all mankind. We began the year with our Legacy Service Project partnering with Big Sunday. We rolled right into serving students through backpack and lunchbox collection and distribution, and we have an ongoing commitment to serving our veterans through clothing drives, meals throughout the year, and most recently, serving Thanksgiving dinner. We are closing out this 2025 year with our membership experience. This is our first since 2018. This is significant, and it marks just how bright MLO's future is. MLO has a rich history that began with visionary women who were committed, again, to service to all. You are about to have the pleasure of hearing how we began and just how our chapter has evolved over time. Our very own Golden Sword charter member, Jackie White, will narrate this historical evolution for us. And note, she is MLO's first historian.
I am Jackie White, Golden Soror, and charter member of Mu Lambda Omega Chapter. In 1977, I met Gail Kazanov, who invited me to her chapter, Theta Mu Omega. I actually reactivated with that chapter, but in January of 1978 is when I met Barbara Williams, who approached me with the idea that she had to start a new chapter. It was her idea to try to get together several inactive sorors to form this new organization. I was quite intrigued, so I went to the first meeting and I was absolutely blown away. The excitement and enthusiasm was really infectious. Most of us were in our early 30s at that time. Some were a little younger and some were a little older. But the strength of the group was in its diversity. We learned from each other, and that has been a hallmark of Mu Lambda Omega Chapter all these years. I was its first Ivy League reporter, and I was its first historian. Mu Lambda Omega is a great chapter, and I've been so happy and so proud to be a part of it. I am so thankful that I've been a part of its birth and its legacy. The interest group met from January to June, and the excitement and energy was palpable. The group spread by word of mouth, so each meeting had a few more members. We were thrilled and eager to start a new chapter from scratch. All of our meetings were held in Barbara's home in Windsor Hills. On April 9th, 1978, we received the go-ahead to give ourselves a name. We chose West LA AKAs and elected officers and began planning the actual chartering ceremony and luncheon. On Sunday, June 25th, 1978, at the Marriott Hotel on Century Boulevard in Los Angeles, 36 sorors gathered for the chartering ceremony. Soror Mildred Robinson, the Far Western Regional Director, officiated the ceremony, making Mu Lambda Omega the 6th Alpha Kappa Alpha graduate chapter in Los Angeles County. The chartering sorors had initiation dates spanning 50 years, from 1927 to 1970, and represented graduate and undergraduate chapters from every region. 34 of the 36 sorors had been inactive from periods ranging from 6 to almost 50 years. Soror Jean Tynes was the senior member of the group. On June 25th, Soror Jean became a charter member, a golden soror, and a surrogate grandmother to many of us. In an audio-taped interview of Soror Jean by Soror Barbara, when Soror Jean was in a convalescent home a couple of years before her death, Jean recalled her days at Ohio State University, where African Americans could attend the university, but could not live in the dorms. So black families would house the college students. She also expressed her reluctance to joining the interest group. Do you think we're too old for this group? Her friend, Sora Florence Atkinson, replied, "Don't worry, we'll make them like us." Sora Barbara Williams personally delivered the tape to the Moreland Spingarn Research Center at Howard University. The transcript of the tape is housed with MLO artifacts in the Mamie Clayton Museum and Library in Culver City. Sadly, 2 months after our chartering, we had our first Ivy Beyond the Wall, when Sora Hazel Bell was tragically killed in a small airplane accident while on vacation in the Bahamas, and for several years we gave a scholarship in her name.
I'm Mu Lambda Omega Charter member Pat Dobbs Jackson. I remember getting a call from one of my co-initiates, we called ourselves Line Sisters in those days, telling me about a group of young women, young AKAs, trying to form a new chapter. I was intrigued. After my first meeting, I was hooked. I had not been active since my days in college. The idea of starting a new chapter from scratch was fascinating, and I became a member of the chartering committee. A special memory I have from those early days of the chapter was just watching all of these women who we came from different backgrounds, different colleges. We had been made in different undergraduate chapters, coming together with this same sense of purpose and our love of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority to start this new wonderful chapter that became MLO.
Hello, my name is Pamela Roberts Hughes, and I am a charter member of Mu Lambda Omega. I was also the first chaplain. What I remember most about the chartering is that it was my responsibility to bring the regional director to all of the meetings leading up to the charter. The regional director at the time was Mildred Robinson. She lived in Pasadena. I lived in Altadena. I would pick her up. We would drive 45 to 60 minutes going and drive back 45 to 60 minutes. She would school me on the history of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority and give me information and tell me about the local chapters. And it was a pleasant ride there and back, but it was also intimidating. I am now a Golden Soror, and I am a member of Eta Lambda Omega Pasadena, but I have been keeping abreast of the activities of MLO over the years. I know that you have grown in number, and I know that you have done some wonderful things in the community.
Hi, I am Peggy Selma. What wonderful memories. In the mid-70s, I met a lady named Barbara Williams. She had compiled a list of over 90 inactive African Americans who were Alpha Kappa Alpha women. She and I, along with a lot of other women, put together a committee under the supervision of our regional director, Mildred Robinson. This committee formed the chartering process to enable Mu Lambda Omega to become a chapter in Los Angeles. What a journey. We bonded at each other's homes for over a year. And in the end, we had the chartering ceremony in 1978, and I had the pleasure of chairing the process. What bond, what friendship, what wonderful memories we all have. And to think that was over 40 years ago, and we are still sisters. We are still connected.
Through charter member Gretchen Morris, Mu Lambda Omega has a special link to two of Alpha Kappa Alpha's founders. Sora Gretchen's grandfather, Welford R. Wilson, was born in 1888 in Virginia and was a member of the 1910 graduation class at Howard University. Carrie Snowden and Norma Boyd were Welford's classmates. In 1980, Sora Norma, who was now well into her 90s, wrote her autobiography titled A Love That Equals My Labors. Sora Gretchen attended Sora Norma's book signing in Los Angeles and was able to obtain an autographed copy of the book. About 3 weeks after the chartering, Barbara Williams, Martha Johnson, and I attended the Boulé in Houston, where Barbara won a special award for reactivating the largest number of sorors in the sorority. And after the usual summer hiatus, we were eager to get busy with service projects. So, in December, in the same year, 1978, we participated in a recycling drive to support restoration efforts for the historic Dunbar Hotel. And a few weeks later, in January 1979, we participated in the premier UNCF Radiothon with Los Angeles Councilwoman Marguerite Archie and the Mayor of Los Angeles, Tom Bradley. And just 1 year after being chartered in 1979, we won our first Mary P. King Regional Award for Best Chapter Implementation of National Programs. MLO was just barely out of our toddler stage when around our second anniversary, Far Western Regional Director Soror Charlene Carradine requested that we co-host, along with Mu Beta Omega, the Far Western Regional Conference the following year. We celebrated our third anniversary on June 25, 1981, which was the eve of the 52nd Far Western Regional Conference at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Beverly Hills. Planning, organizing, and hosting this conference was a huge undertaking for our small young chapter, but proved to be a turning point for us. We tackled the job with MLO energy, efficiency, and enthusiasm. We were determined to demonstrate our true capabilities, and in the process were transformed from a women's organization into a true sisterhood. The conference participants were amazed by the organization, professionalism, and class of the conference. MLO chaired 11 committees and co-chaired 10, and won the Graduate Achievement Award and again the Mary P. King Award. To paraphrase the Alicia King song, Mu Lambda Omega was on fire. That fire and enthusiasm led MLO to win those 2 awards at every regional conference for almost a decade.
My name is Sarah Velma Marshall. I had the pleasure of serving as Bacillus of Mu Lambda Omega Chapter from 1983 to 1986. During my administration, we held the annual Black Women's Unity Dinner. The purpose of this dinner was to bring together other Black women organizations so that we could get to know each other, could discuss our mutual programs, and to collaborate on programs that serve the community. We also talked about common issues that were of importance during the time. We had a dinner every year of my service. Also, we focused on our fundraising, and we were able to invite Roxy Roker, who was one of the stars of the Jefferson at the time, and honored her as one of our guest speakers and honorees at one of our annual events. During my administration, I did a newsletter every month, and that gave me another chance to interact with the Soros. I would contact different ones to just find out what they were doing, to include their activities in the newsletter. I also tried to talk with each member during the month, just to create the camaraderie and the personal relationship with the chapter members. It was a wonderful time for me. It gave me the opportunity to get involved with Alpha Kappa Alpha in the local area. I still consider myself fairly new to Los Angeles, but serving as Bacillus of MLO, I interacted with other Bacillus of the chapters in the area, attended the Boulé and regional conferences representing the chapter. So it was a wonderful time for me, and I think the chapter enjoyed my service as their leader.
In 1983, under the leadership of Bacillus Soror Velma Marshall, MLO initiated the Black Women's Unity Dinner, a signature event that continued well into the 1990s. Through this popular activity, we held workshops and discussion panels on themes such as the Black family and voter registration. Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority had contracted in the 1980s to sponsor the Cleveland Job Corps. Mu Lambda Omega's link to the Los Angeles Job Corps was through soror Janet Britt. MLO sorors supported the organization by giving presentations to the Job Corps members on youth development, employment, and job interview techniques. We also conducted several community health fairs, implemented a scholarship program, and chapter retreats for program planning, and adopted a village in Niger. In 1984, MLO hosted, for the first time, Founders Day. And later, MLO members joined 20,000 sorors to celebrate the sorority's 75th anniversary in Washington, D.C. We ebbed out the decade by co-hosting the Los Angeles Boule in 1988. In 1990, MLO assisted sorors initiate and charter a new chapter in the San Fernando Valley. Just as Theta Mu Omega gave birth to MLO, we helped give birth to Sigma Lambda Omega chapter in Encino.
Hello ladies, I am Golden Soror, Rita Bernard Harris. I have served as the 5th Basilisk to Mu Lambda Omega chapter. Before I go on, I'd like to say that I've always been an AK in my heart, and when I went to Southern University, I became a member in 1962 and had the golden opportunity to usher in Julia Brogdon Purnell, our 16th Supreme Basilisk in Detroit, Michigan in the wintertime. I have served to the best of my ability to do things that would improve Mu Lambda Omega. And one of those happened to be very, very active in raising money. So as a chapter, we raised money enough to give over 10 scholarships. Some included book scholarships. During that time, we also moved our address to Culver City. In the beginning, it was West LA. We wanted to be associated with an area that could see what we were doing in terms of progress. Today, I am proud to say that Mu Lambda Omega has grown in so many ways, and that I am thankful for.
We were the first chapter to receive an EAF, Educational Advancement Foundation, $5,000 mini grant for math, science, and the arts. Sorors taught dance to elementary school students at LaSalle Avenue Elementary School in Los Angeles. The math tutorial was also a component of the program, and MLO was exceedingly surprised when we were recognized at the Baltimore Boule for this outstanding program. We began a partnership with the Victoria Roel Foundation for Foster Children and gave Thanksgiving baskets to foster families. We adopted a foster family and for one entire year provided food, clothing, and tutoring to the family's 6 foster children.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Adrienne Thompson, the 8th Basilisk of the marvelous, lovely, outstanding Mu Lambda Omega chapter. I was initiated in 1991, and I am a Silver Star and life member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. My administration began in 2001 under the leadership of our Supreme Basilisk Norma Solomon White, where we were blazing new trails. And Mu Lambda Omega became the first chapter in the far western region to submit a mini grant through the Educational Advancement Foundation and present 2 award-winning programs, one in the arts and one under the target for math and science. In the second year of my administration, 2002, our leadership changed to Sora Linda White, who is now an ivy beyond the wall, but led a dynamic administration under the theme that was called Spirit. The other things that were done in my administration, increase in overall membership in the chapter, as well as winning multiple leadership awards at regional conferences in both 2001 and 2002.
Hi, I'm Sora Gail Atlee, and I was Basilisk of Mu Lambda Omega from 2005 to 2008. It was an exciting time to be an AKA because we were right in the middle of the spirit of Alpha Kappa Alpha program. And we did some amazing things and we won all kinds of awards. Let me just tell you about a couple of them. The first one was that we created our Ivy Academy. This was an after-school and Saturday tutorial where we went to a learning center on Washington Boulevard. We even won Sora Diana Shipley's first Regional Conference Award for tutorial services. We were all very proud. Mu Lambda Omega was very invested in the Young Authors program. We actually worked with several schools to have students do short stories and illustrations, and we were able to submit 4 of them for the competition. In addition to the programs that we did for the Spirit program, we really focused on becoming a more sisterly chapter. I believe that one of our crowning achievements was that we changed our paradigm about how we honor our scholarship recipients. We gave more money, we recruited more scholarship recipients, we opened it up to more schools. And I see the benefit now because some of those recipients are actually Alpha Kappa Alpha women. I have to tell you, as a Basilisk, one of the most exciting things was the sorors that were in the chapter were willing to try new things. We had all kinds of things that really said, you are valuable. You're the reason why we're here. Yes, community service is what we're about, but we're also about building up the Black woman and making her feel good about herself. And that's what we really accomplished during my administration.
In 2003, we celebrated our 25th anniversary with the gala event held at the Hollywood Racetrack in Inglewood. Mu Lambda Omega co-sponsored the annual Teen Health Conference in January, and under the leadership of Sora Eleanor Wallace, we initiated the Teen Economic Conference at Parent Elementary School. 8th grade students spent a year creating their own business plans, and Soras volunteered their time to work with these students. Their culminating activity was presenting their business plans at the summit. The Teen Economic Summit evolved into the sorority's Emerging Young Leaders, or EYL, program.
I'm Sora Netta Kelly Lawrence, and I served as Basilisk of Mu Lambda Omega Chapter from 2007 until 2010. My term of office began with the very first chapter evaluation in 2007. And we were successful in not having to be revisited by the evaluation team. We were a little more than 40 members, and the membership had increased to over 50 in 2010. In 2008, we were in the forefront with the activities that were taking place in the region that were around the centennial celebration that will be taking place in Washington, D.C. in 2008. We were part of the traveling exhibit committee, and a number of sorors served as chairpersons of some of the activities that were taking place. In March of 2008, we honored our very first golden soror, Soror Gloria Simpson, and this began the annual celebration of our membership. We had a large delegation of sorors who attended the centennial celebration in Washington, D.C., and were part of all of the activities that surrounded the centennial. It was my pleasure to serve as the Centennial Basilisk of Mu Lambda Omega Chapter.
In July 2008, along with 30,000 sorors, MLO helped celebrate Alpha Kappa Alpha's 100th birthday at the Centennial Boulé in Washington, D.C. At our holiday luncheon in December 2010, Sora Barbara Trotter announced her plans to run for Far Western Regional Director. Hearing this news, the room literally exploded. We jumped up and down and screamed. Words cannot describe our excitement. We were over the moon. The chapter eagerly supported her during her campaign and were present in large number when she was installed as the 24th Far Western Regional Director at the 2012 Boulé in San Francisco. which was the first time in 24 years that the boule was held in the far western region.
I'm Olivet Sasser, Bacillus of Mu Lambda Omega chapter from 2011 to 2014, and it was a very eventful 4 years. The very first meeting that Madam Regional Director at the time, Dr. Barbara Denson Trotter, came before the chapter to ask our support for her run for Far Western Regional Director. Of course, we were elated, we applauded, we stood up and gave her a standing ovation, and then we had a motion on the floor, and it was a resounding yes that we would support her. Then it hit me. I'm going to be the new Bacillus, and she's running for regional director, and I don't even know what to do. But it ended up being a very good start. I lost a few members, and we still moved forward, and we did wonderful things, and all the way up to the 2012 Far Western Regional Conference, where Dr. Barbara Denson Trotter, our soror, won the regional directorship. And from that point on, when she was installed in 2012 at the San Francisco Boule, it was on and popping. We had a lot of things that we had to do, but in the MLO fashion, we were able to do it all. We had 2 MIPs. We also had our 35th anniversary celebration at the Mamie Clayton Library and Museum, a Black African American museum where we placed our charter and most of all of our important pictures and documents. And that's something that is very, I feel really great about that. Now that's going on. We had the regional director in our chapter during my time, and guess where the 2013 regional conference was? It was in Los Angeles, and it was Cluster 2 that were going to be the host chapters. So here I am again. I was the grammatis for the regional conference, and we had to make Dr. Barbara Denson Trotter, our Far Western Regional Director, look great. And MLO put it all together for her and did our part. We were outstanding.
I'm Dr. Barbara Denson Trotter, and I'm the 24th Far Western Regional Director of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And I say that with such pride because when I was initiated back in 1962, December 2nd, in Knoxville, Tennessee, Knoxville College, little did I know or even dream of ever becoming a regional director. My daughter, who is Allison, joined Mu Lambda Omega chapter. She was initiated into Mu Lambda Omega chapter. So naturally, mothers and daughters need to be together. And so I followed my daughter from Theta Mu Omega chapter to Mu Lambda Omega chapter, where she was initiated. But the interesting thing about coming to Mu Lambda Omega chapter was that I was just embraced. I was so embraced and so loved that I felt like I had been there forever. And I was given many opportunities to work. I chaired their evaluation committee. Well, chairing that committee gave me an intricate knowledge of the chapter's history from the very time that it was conceptualized. And so I felt closer and closer to the chapter. And it was just a little chapter. As a matter of fact, I think there were about 40 members in Mu Lambda Omega chapter when I first transferred in there. And later, I worked in the chapter, and later I decided that I would like to run for regional director. Well, I came to my chapter and asked them if they would support me in that effort. And of course, Mu Lambda Omega chapter just went wild with joy.
In March 2013, Soror Barbara Trotter presided over her first regional conference. The 84th Far Western Regional Conference was held at the Marriott Hotel at LA Live. For some of us, hosting this conference rekindled the excitement we felt when we hosted our first conference in 1981. But this time, we had the added incentive of the Far Western Regional Director, Dr. Barbara Denson Trotter, as a member of our chapter. Again, we were determined to make her proud. Later, in June of that year, 2013, Nu Lambda Omega celebrated our 35th anniversary by displaying our charter in the Mamie Clayton African American Library and Museum in Culver City. This was a beautiful, exciting, and historic event as MLO became the first chapter in Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated to document the archiving and display of our charter and artifacts in an African American museum. Several charter members came from different parts of the country to celebrate with us.
Hi, I'm Sora Nicole Clark-Reed, and I was Basilisk of Mu Lambda Omega from 2015 through 2016. During my tenure as Basilisk, there were many accomplishments that I was very proud of, one of which was completion of the International Standards Evaluation. It was a very time-consuming and lengthy evaluation, but MLO did a fabulous job and we passed above average. In addition to completing the evaluation, we were tasked with planning and implementing the Southern California Cluster Conference during the same time period. So we were very busy and we implemented a fabulous Southern California Cluster Conference during the same time as the evaluation. We also created a branding catalog during my tenure. I was very excited about that, and some of the items that you see today, such as our sweaters and scarves, began in the branding catalog. We won a mentoring award, and our membership, they did a fabulous job with our mentoring classes, and it was just a really, really wonderful time. And that was actually the award for the Far Western region, which we went on to compete at the Boulé level. Several things that were very important to the chapter, which include our audits, as well as our strategic plan, and we were one of the chapters first in the region to complete our strategic plan. We also nominated an honorary member, Sora Susan Page, and that was with the assistance of Madam 24, who was the Far Western Regional Director at the time. And lastly, MLO funded our EAF endowment during my tenure. That was a very exciting chapter meeting, and I just want to congratulate MLO again for that honor.
Culver City, Los Angeles, and Inglewood are Mu Lambda Omega's areas of service. The Hot Pink Affair is our signature fundraising event, and this past June we celebrated 40 years of service as a chapter. Our award-winning mentor program supports sorors reactivating into our chapter, and in March 2018, we won the Barbara Denson Trotter Graduate Archives Award. Among our many service projects, Mu Lambda Omega has partnered with the Culver City Unified School District, providing food and jackets for needy families through our Family Strengthening Program, mentored and enriched high school students through our award-winning Educational Enrichment Program, cleaned up Rancho Cienega Park via our Environmental Ownership Program, and provided 170 little dresses for Africa through the Global Impact Program, and through our Health Target, encouraged sorors and friends to line dance, count steps, cycle, and promote breast and heart health. In addition, we have participated in California's AKA Day at the Capitol, made quilts for patients in convalescent homes, and have walked to raise money and awareness for Alzheimer's research.
Hello, my name is Akila Wallace, and it's been an honor and privilege to serve as Basilisk. The MLO has achieved several accomplishments over the past couple of years with the wonderful support of our high-performing chapter members. Some special areas that I'm really proud of the MLO in is our use of technology. So we've experienced a major increase in our membership, which meant that we needed to adjust the way we communicate with our members and the way that we do chapter operations. So now we have electronic reporting, and sorors receive those reports after the meeting. So there's lots of transparency in the information, and it helps to answer a lot of questions and keep the chapter meeting time within a reasonable time limit. Some other notable successes are our successful fundraisers. So we've added, in addition to the hot pink affair, we now do a pancake breakfast. We also do VA house. So we've really gotten a multitude of fundraisers that we have adopted within our chapter that have become our signature. And we've raised over $40,000 in the last 2 years, which has allowed us to really increase the amount of scholarships that we give in our chapter, that comes from our chapter, with the support of our foundation, the Ivy Centennial Foundation. Our chapter has been really successful at implementing the program for years. And we were recognized at both the regional level and the international level at Boulé. So we are really proud of MLO. Our chapter also now is an EAF Platinum chapter. Another notable accomplishment is we are a star chapter for standards reporting, which means that we have successfully turned in our end of the year reports on time every year. We are really, really proud of MLO, and we look forward to 40 plus years of service to Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority.
Hello, I'm Andrea Hancock Creer, and I'm the 15th president of Mu Lambda Omega chapter, and I served from 2021 to 2024 under 2 international presidents. I was initiated at California State University, Long Beach in 1982, Lambda Alpha chapter. The theme for my administration was the power of excellence, and my vision was to increase our visibility and community impact as a chapter by creating strategic partnerships. My administration was marked by the challenge of operating during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, and it was important to me to maintain our sisterly connections within MLO. I benefited from the technological advances established by our previous president, Akilah Wallace, and I led the chapter through the pandemic and facilitated our transition back to in-person operations. I was excited to launch the Mu Lambda Omega Barbara Williams Leadership Collective, named in honor of our first president in 1978. MLO continued our reign as an awards powerhouse, winning 23 plus awards during my tenure for excellence in chapter operations and program execution, including a posthumous award for Ivy Beyond the Wall, Eleanor Wallace, who received the Laverne Tarkington Leadership Development Award 1 month after her passing. I'm very proud of MLO's impactful global work during my tenure supporting the Black diaspora in Ghana, Haiti, Black migrants at the Mexico border, as well as Black refugees and immigrants in Los Angeles in collaboration with our partner organizations. One of my major goals was to increase our presence in the Culver City community, which we did by conducting more community service activities in the city and forging a relationship with the first Black mayor of Culver City, and after him, the first Black woman vice mayor. MLO elevated our support of Black graduates from Culver City High School by providing resources for the inaugural Kente ceremony and established the Mu Lambda Omega of AKA scholarship that is presented annually. MLO significantly enhanced its support for veterans through a myriad of activities and programs. Notably, in 2023, MLO and ICF established the Ivy Library Room, a community library for veterans on the newly renovated West Los Angeles VA campus. It was my honor and joy to lead the marvelous, lively, and outstanding sorors of Mu Lambda Omega as the 15th president.
Mu Lambda Omega is exceedingly proud to be the home chapter of our past Far Western Regional Director, who we fondly call Madam 24, Dr. Barbara Denson Trotter. MLO includes a myriad of professions and talents. Members are human resources, nonprofit, healthcare and technology professionals. We are attorneys, businesswomen, entrepreneurs, educators, and administrators. MLO members have been able to come together as part of an ever-growing network, Alpha Kappa Alpha, to foster sisterhood among Black women and impact the community through its commitment to service. Mu Lambda Omega has always taken great pride in its diversity, a group of women of varying ages and backgrounds. Mu Lambda Omega is a chapter of
Sisters, winners, trailblazers,
visionaries,
collaborators,
problem solvers,
givers,
survivors,